Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Trader Merlin Show. It is your Wednesday afternoon edition. Smiles about it. I had to wear a little bit of a patriotism here today just because, it was like an America kind of day if you're long and holding on to some long positions. Goodness gracious. I had some positions today that were up over 25% gains in a day. I'll take it. Whatever you think of the tariff wars and all the garbage that's going on, hey, everyone's going to want to have a nice 25% rally up. Now, of course, that wasn't everything that was moving out there today, but I wanted to start with this little graphic here. I said one for the record books, and I did make a mistake today. I know some of you were following me on Twitter, and I make mistakes all the time. I'm happy to admit it, but I posted today that this was one of the single biggest day that the NASDAQ had ever had. That's actually not true. I'll bring up that post for you right here. There is the post. I said, since its inception in 1985, the NASDAQ 100 has never had a 10% up day and is currently up 10.28. Well, it finished up even more than that. But as happens, I made a mistake. And there are people out there who are much better, have better data. I was going back through AI and using charts trying to find something that was down significantly. But of course, Thomas over at Bar Chart corrected me. He found out, he says, hey, look, and he goes, we went through our data. The NASDAQ went up 12.58% in October 13th of 2008, 10.92% October 28th of 2008. There you go. So 12.58 was the largest ever. And if you look at where we are right now the NASDAQ's up 12.09. Of course, that is the futures. Here it is, 12.02%. We'll say it's the second biggest day in the history of the NASDAQ since 1985. That is one that me holding a large position in MicroStrategy and SMCI and NVIDIA, I'm like, bring it on, baby. Loved it. Yeah, Sava. I'll take number two. So I was wrong on my first assessment. Either way, it's one of those just holy cow kind of moments. And okay, before I bore everyone to death, I will tell you this. If you are a social media person, or if you're not a social media person, I'm going to tell you right now, get a social media account. And you don't have to open Twitter. I can't believe I'm saying this. You got to get yourself a Truth Social account. Ugh, it pains me to say it because Twitter is really where it's at. However, Trump is using his Truth Social account to leak information. And if you followed his account today, early this morning, at about 9:30 in the morning, as the markets were just getting going, he says, today's a good day to buy stock or buy DJT. Today, I think let me see if I can find the exact quote here. Oh, it's a tough one. He said to buy. He said, today's a great day to buy. And then he made that announcement. So the big takeaway is you got to have a Truth Social account. I follow one person, and it's Donald Trump's account, because I have a feeling he's going to continue to do this. He might say something in the coming weeks like, it's not looking good for China, meaning we're going to raise another big jump in tariffs. Or, it's almost like insider trading what happened today. It was crazy. Liz says, yes, that was a strange coincidence that he said that. I don't think it was a coincidence at all. I think he was literally going, hey guys, I'm going to give all my people on Truth Social a little bit of a head start here, and I'm going to tell them today's a great day to buy. They can interpret that however they want. And now I'm going to say we're removing these tariffs. So, man, it was just wild how much we moved today. Unfortunately, I can't find that tweet for you guys, and I don't want to doom scroll to try to find it, but you can definitely go find that one out there. It was pretty crazy what went on. Anyway, let's dive into some of the finer details of it. Obviously, your charts look like this, just an absolute sea of green. I want to do something interesting, at least add a component to this, which is look at some financial statistics. And one great site for that is FinViz. So I will read you some numbers here. Out of the 9,700 stocks on the exchanges in the United States, 88.5 were up today. That's a lot. Only 9.6 were down. You would think everything would be up today, but of course, there's going to be some things that are down. 960 stocks were down today. Let's see. 88% are still below their 50-period moving average, which I thought was rather interesting. And 82% are down below their 200-period moving average. So still does not look a great picture overall. But that map of the market today, hallelujah. Microsoft up 10%, Apple up 15%, Amazon up 12%, Tesla up 22%, NVIDIA 18% gains. Oh, man. I hope you guys have as big a smile on your face as I do, because it was one that I'm very, very happy for. Now, the question is, do we think it's going to last? Let's dive a little bit deep into, so I need a mental reset before I enter more trades. It's been a rough 2 weeks. Yeah, it has been. It felt like yesterday we were focusing one direction, saying, well, this is where things are going, and complete 180 face melting move. Now, part of what Trump said yesterday, or said today, well, one of the reasons he did it was that countries were yippee and afraid. His quote, yippee and afraid. So, as usual, I ran yippee and afraid through my AI generator to see what it would create. And for your entertainment, here is yippee and afraid according to Midjourney. First one looks like a painting of Munch. That's a great picture, by the way. I don't know if I'd want it in my house. Second one is a kind of freaked out koala bear with paint all around it. And then the third one is some kind of weird, creepy monster that you think you'd find in a Benicio del Toro movie. But that was yippee and afraid, according to AI. All right, we'll move on from that. So for those who may not know all the details or what was actually happening out there, bottom line was Trump, it was in a situation like we discussed yesterday. You're alienating almost everybody. You're pushing people away from the United States, and you can't do that. So what he did is he said, I'm going to backpedal. I'll put a 90-day pause on every country that's come to us to negotiate, right? It doesn't have to be directly to the president. It could be the Commerce Department, but different departments. If you have approached without putting on reciprocal tariffs, if you put on reciprocal tariffs, here you go. Just go deal with it, pal. We're going to come after you. But those that have been negotiating, you said, hey, 90-day pause. Markets love that, right? Markets wanted to push that market higher and higher and higher. So that was a good sign. And remember what I said yesterday, the big wild card for me is, how does this polarize our friends? How does it make Europe look towards us? Right now, it's not a good look. But after this news today, this might actually make Europe feel a little bit more, okay, well, we're willing to negotiate here. It's not just hardball. So now we get to, talk. And that puts them back in our corner a little bit. Same with all these other countries we're negotiating with. Of course, since China jumped up to 85% tariffs, we're now going to jump to 134? Is that, I think we've moved up to 134% tariff. 125, excuse me. 125% tariff on China. It feels like this, where you've got tariff talks going on and the president saying, hey, let's make a deal. We'll do that. However, you have this graphic I used yesterday, the, punching match back and forth with China. And if you follow me on Twitter, I did put out I thought it was a hilarious video. I don't know if I'll get in trouble for this, but see if I can do it. I don't know if you guys have seen this fight. It's a fight that happened years ago between two MMA fighters, and I cannot remember their exact names, but I'll see if I can do it for you. Here is the video. I'm gonna play it for you. Hold on. So here's the video that I took this fight, but I don't know if you guys have seen it. But this is USA versus China, and the whole fight is literally like this for round after round. It is just nonstop brutality between these two guys. It's awesome. I mean, it is no holds barred, just punch. And this to me feels like China and the United States right now. Just swinging, going for the fences, letting it go, letting it go, letting it go. Haymakers, right? It's just, sorry for those that don't like violence. This was an organized fight. This isn't a ring, so it's okay. But this is the U.S. and China, man. They're dropping knees, they're punching, and they look just exhausted. At a certain point, they'll tire themselves out. And the big question is, who's going to end up being the winner of that one? Ugh, man. For me, it was a strategic chess move which said, let's try to make friends with the rest of the world, but we'll keep pressure on the one we're the most concerned with, which is China. That's our biggest adversary with regards to trade, our biggest ally with regards to trade too, I guess, when you look at how much we do trade with China. Let's make those tariffs go away there. So it would be really, Sadir, I don't remember who won. I think that the American won that fight. I'd have to go all the way through. No, I labeled him Chris. Even the guy has American trunks on. You see, he's got red, white, and blue trunks on. But boy, it just kept going and going. You're right. The guy's hair kind of does look like Trump. And you think Ken won? So Ken's the American in this one. Yeah, it was. It's one for the books, guys. It was one of those fights you just go, wow, these two just duked it out and would not give up. All heart. So anyway, where does that leave us? It leaves us, at least it leaves me with a thought. And I'm curious to see what you guys think. Let me know in chat what you think. I have it on super low latency today, and which means you should be able to get chats through right away. So here's my thought. My thought is we have this reprieve right now on tariffs. Not all of them, right? Keep in mind, this is not all the tariffs. This is the reciprocal tariffs. It's still 10% across the board for everyone, just as like a little, keep the fires burning over there. But we still have the tariffs on cars. We still have the tariffs on copper and other imports and things like that. So those tariffs are still in place. It's the reciprocal tariffs that are now on pause for 90 days for most countries that are coming to the table and negotiating. Okay, so that gives us a 90-day window with the countries that are negotiating. And again, Cambodia, Vietnam, Thailand, some of the smaller ones out there, not that critical. China, of course, is the big one. I don't see that de-escalating anytime soon. I think that this is two bullies that are going to keep raising and raising until ultimately things really get to a head. So the question, or at least my perspective, is this. In this time of uncertainty, the news today, everyone thought is the greatest thing ever for the markets. We jumped up double digits on the NASDAQ. We're not out of the woods, guys. It's just 90 days. So in my opinion, it's one of those situations where you're looking at, let's say, the S&P and saying, hey, are there some key levels coming up here that I'd be okay going short and building a short position? Because we have not resolved any tariff issues here yet, certainly not with China. And if that's the case, we probably will see more downside movement. And again, that's kind of how I'm going to be viewing it. I'm assuming that many of you will be against that or think I'm wrong, which is totally fine as long as we can do it as friends, right? How many of you guys think that I'm right? That we'll probably see this market bounce back up. And maybe, we look at a little lofty level here. I'm going a little bit higher just to go to that next area. That would be right around 5,800 on the S&P, and we're at 5,491. So looking for points to go short here on the broad picture of the S&P, because yes, we have 90-day window of reprieve, and some countries will settle. Some countries will come to the table and erase tariffs. Others won't, and things might escalate a little bit. So I think you're going to get a market rally up. I don't know if it'll go to this. I have friends of mine calling for all-time highs. Okay, maybe we get that. But I think we'll probably get it. Hey, Lee, good to see you. And hey, y'all, we got some regulars in here, or not so regulars. Good to see you guys. I'm of the opinion that this is going to be a rally that takes us an overhead supply, which gives you a really good time to potentially go short. I would start building a short position. I certainly wouldn't load up the boat because, as you know, Mr. Orange Hair can create all kinds of problems. And look at this. This is literally a tweet today. Did this. This is just absolutely phenomenal. You look over on my right-hand margin over here. The only thing that was close to unchanged was the dollar index. The 10-year yield went up a little bit. Actually, it was up significantly and then came back down. But really, you had gold up almost 3%, crude oil up 4.6%, Bitcoin up 7.5%, Russell's up 8.5%, S&P 9.38% gain for the S&P, and of course, the big victor, the NASDAQ 100, which is closing this gap from April 2nd, from that Wednesday drop down we had. We're closing that gap. Might even be a temporary short opportunity there, even after we completed this bear flag formation. A lot of great technical stuff happening right now, and to me, I think you might get a little bit more upside. This is emotion-driven, not act and fact-driven. So I think that over the next couple weeks, we'll see it rally into a supply and start to sell off again from there. Until we get China resolved and off the books of uncertainty, these markets are going to be chaotic. So there you go. There's your market update. We finished in 15 minutes. Show's over. Let's go home. I'm kidding. Let's see. What did you guys say? Earnings are coming for first quarter. We'll keep sliding. Maybe. Right? We don't know, Finney. We do have, I always say Finney. It's Fury, right? Let me make sure I read it right. My eyes are bad. Fury. So you talk about companies reporting. Of course, JP Morgan is going to be one of the biggest ones, and you can see here on their price chart they've been crushed as well. It's not like they've been safe from this. From peak to trough here over the past couple months, they dropped 27%. Of course, today they were up 8%. And really, this Friday is all about the banks, all about financials, and we may keep sliding. Really depends on not just what their numbers are, but what the forecasts are. The forecasts are really the most important part here. So Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to hang my hat on earnings and to save the day or crush the markets. It does feel to me like our financials are going to start to get worse, that the company numbers are going to start to get worse, and forecasts are going to get lowered on the expectations of tariffs. I mean, if you're a company right now reporting earnings, it's in your best interest to lower your price target, to lower your forecast on all your goods, your revenue, all those numbers, lower that forecast now. Because if we do continue this trade war and things get worse, you now are prepared. If it gets resolved and things are great, then you're going to have such blowout earnings, your stock's going to go through the roof. So I do expect companies to be lowering their forecasts, which again could cause people to panic a little bit and sell positions, moving things to the downside. And again, it's just Friday is all of financials. Next week, we get a lot more, and then in the coming weeks, we have some FANG stocks or Magnificent 7 stocks and bigger names out there. So your question depends, JGB says, your question depends on how one feels about the USA as a supporter I'm long. I'm a supporter 100% too, but I do think the uncertainty is going to weigh. Look, I think in the end, it'll probably pan out. I think we mentioned this the other day. I believe we're going to have downside moves probably for the next 6-8 months. I think it's going to be not aggressive, but slow down here because of the uncertainty. Once those tariffs are either in place or removed, then we can start to see what the markets really do and how they absorb that. Given our consumption patterns and our economic power, I think we'll win, but not without pains along the way, right? We'll probably have some challenges here over the next few months, and for that, I'm bearish on the economy for the next few months. But long term, I think it's probably going to be a win, a big win. But that's going to take into 2026, in my opinion, to really start to see it get through the bottom line numbers and get us out of what recession or stagflation environment we might be in at that moment in time. Remember, we do have inflation numbers coming out tomorrow. You have a CPI number coming out tomorrow before markets open. On Friday, you've got PPI. So, this is great and all to have tariff talks seemingly stalled and slowed down a bit, but inflation is certainly a major factor here, and the data coming out tomorrow could give us some better ideas as to where we stand from an inflationary front. All right, let's see. So as we close above the big 5,400 SPX put level, I noticed. I'll bring that SPX up there just so we can have that one on. Yeah, we did close above that 5,400. I mean, obviously, when you move up almost 500 points in a day on the S&P, you're breaking through a whole bunch of levels. And we'll see if my idea for price pattern holds here. As you guys know, I thought we'd see a rally. Not like this. I thought we'd see a rally, but certainly not like this. I'm not going to take claim for that. I thought we'd see a little bit of a rally and then really sideways for the next couple of months, and then ultimately breaking down below that 20% mark. We'll see if that holds. Obviously, anything can happen in the near future and long term. It's just wild. I'm still holding my long SPY puts. All right, Garfield, your premium got sucked out of it today, but I don't think I think you're probably still okay. Today'd be a great day to be a buyer of puts. Directionally, premium's just gone. No one's looking for puts today at all. Che says, I think we've seen the bottom after this crash. Ooh, well, maybe. I don't believe we've seen the bottom. I don't think that this is the bottom. Remember, nothing was resolved today. Let's make that very clear. Nothing at all was resolved. There was no definitive, hey, this country is back down 100% and we've signed a deal saying we're not going to do tariffs. Nothing was resolved today. It was just a pause to give more time. I'll give you another example of why pausing is a concern to me. You guys might know the debt ceiling. And it seems like every time we get to a vote on the debt ceiling to raise it, they pause it and kick the can down the road. But then this issue rears its ugly head again. It always ends up being a tumultuous time. They just want to kick the can down the road. So right now it's a pause to let the yipping, what do you say, yipping? And I had it on the screen. Yipping and afraid countries come to the table, have some discussions, and hopefully start to resolve. Now, I do hope that over the next month or two, over the next 90 days, we start to see countries come in and say, yep, we're going to remove tariffs. And my guess is you're going to see it right away with Vietnam, Cambodia. All those Southeast Asian countries, I think, will probably jump onto it. That'll also put some pressure on China. Then you'll see, I think, Canada and Mexico join that parade of we're going to remove tariffs. And then that just puts more pressure on like Europe and China if more people start to drop that tariff talk. So I don't think the bottom is in. I think we're probably going to see more downside movement, but not aggressive. I don't think we're going to see absolute catastrophic downside 12% declines like we did today. All right. Does the president family need to report holdings, their options? Good question. Live for him. Apparently, if you're direct family, they can track your investments and holdings looking for insider trading. it would not surprise me at all. I don't think it would surprise anybody here that some of this information may have been leaked out to family members before. Like, hey, guys, Wednesday morning. I mean, he probably knew yesterday or the day before. Like, okay, we'll put a 90-day pause. I'm going to give everybody a chance to buy. I'm sure of it. And I've mentioned this before. I've talked to regulators. I've talked to FINRA, and I talked to people that worked at the SEC, and they claim, for example, let's say I run a publicly traded company and I'm the CEO. I'm on the stock exchange, XYZ Corp. They claim, this is FINRA and the SEC, that they would be checking out everyone I associate with. So they'll be monitoring my family's transactions. They'll be tracking people that I hang out with the gym with, or if I'm part of community outreach or church members, that they're watching all those people. I say BS. I do not believe that that is the case, but that's what they claim that they are doing. Now, of course, what are they going to look for? They're going to look for, my wife or my brother or family member making massive transactions. Well, I don't need to do that. Because I could have shell corporations that aren't tied directly to me, that go through multiple shell corporations, which is typically what rich people will do. They've got shell corporations all over the place that aren't directly tied to them. You make all the investments in those accounts and no one's the wiser. That's if you're wealthy. If you're not wealthy, then what you do is you convey that information to the people that you want to have access to insider trading via code, right? And you just say certain words. I've mentioned this before. Like, let's say I'm a CEO of one of the top firms out there, and I tweet a lot. And if I put the word fish, you guys know I'm a fish fan. If I put the word fish in a tweet, that means within 2 days we're going to release really good news. Load the boat. Or if I put the word biscuit, right? Limp Bizkit. We were having discussion about Limp Bizkit. Not a fan. Hostile, angry music. Sorry for the Limp Bizkit fans. If I tweet out biscuit, then everybody knows we're going to come out with bad economic news on our next financials or report or tweet or something. So you just give people that are on the know a head start with certain keywords. Do you think Trump could be doing that? Right? Do you think Schumer could be doing that? Do you think Pelosi could be doing that? Do you think that Elizabeth Warren could be? Absolutely. And there's no communication between that person and the end user. So it makes it incredibly hard. Insider trading happens every single day. And I assure you that today, those tweets were somehow leaked out. Some people knew well ahead of time and made millions today. I mean, honestly, if I knew that tweet was coming out and that this was going to be the announcement, I'd have backed up with every single penny I have in every leverage long account I could across the market. But, of course, I am a peon and I don't get access to all that information. Let's see. Chris says, yeah, Merlin, so I sold my TQQQ. Good for you, Chris. Just relieve that stress. And from now on, what are you going to remember, Chris, out of this? That leverage ETFs are degrading over time. Long or short, doesn't matter. They break down over time. All right. Meredith says, how's my little doggy? He's a little better. He got a shot on Tuesday or Monday. He's on some anti-inflammatories. I'm going to go get him some new medication, but he's walking okay. He drags his back feet a lot. I used to have to clip his nails. Again, I've got a 100-pound German Shepherd. I used to have to clip his nails. Now I don't have to clip the front nails because the back ones are all ground down from walks. But thank you for asking, Meredith. Appreciate it. Let's see. You agree to move up in supply zone and move away again? Yep. Oh, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. And it's not just, S&P. There's a lot of other markets that look like this. Here's your S&P, which is coming into some supply right around 5,600, or ideally getting up to about 5,800. That would be the high end of this recent move down. But you look at the NASDAQ. We already mapped out zones here for the NDX, which for me would be getting up on the NASDAQ 100 right around 23,450 or 500. Right? That's your big area for me anyway. You've got also the Russell 2000. Russell 2000's got a little bit longer way to go before it closes this gap. You got that gap that happened that same day, Wednesday, April 2nd to April 3rd was that big gap done. And once that closes, that could act as a supply zone. Bitcoin, not so much right now. And then crude oil with this massive engulfing formation today. What else do I have? Les says, tariffs they collected from midnight until the tweet, will they be refunded? No clue. No clue. Yeah, I don't know, Les. It makes me question the whole collection process. How does it all really working behind the scenes, which unfortunately I don't know. You would think that they would be refunded, right? Maybe have a certain window of time to pay those tariffs. I don't know, Les. If you find out, let me know. Let's see. Oliver, wait, hold up. Did Merlin say he's getting a True Social account? Yeah, I did. I did open one up, and I follow one person. I'm gonna, and I have alerts set up, so if he tweets something out, I'm gonna get it. I want to know right away, because if you reacted on his tweet this morning, you caught a 10% plus move. If you just bought when he said to buy, he literally told you when to buy early this morning, and then after that, the news came out that there was this 90-day pause. I mean, come on, man. It's worth it. Whether you love him or hate him doesn't matter. It's worth it to have. He is the biggest driver of price right now. I mean, there's nobody bigger. You could argue Jerome Powell could have a bigger impact on the markets, but Jerome Powell's impact, I think, will last days to weeks, whereas Trump's are incredibly massive impact in just a matter of seconds, and they don't even have to be true, right? You can say we're putting a pause, and then tomorrow he could come back and say, no, tariffs are back on. I didn't like what you guys did. No one came to the table. You guys are playing dirty with me. Tariffs are back on. He could change it tomorrow like that, which is why I'll be watching his tweets, or not his tweets, his truths, I guess what they call them, his truths on Truth Social. And if he says something like, negotiations aren't looking good, I'm getting out of my longs. I'm going short, because he's probably going to slap on more tariffs elsewhere. Let's see. What did we got? Oh, we got so much comments going here. Mike was best buy of the day today is ribeye roast at Stater Brothers, only $8 a pound. What? No way. Ribeye should be $5.99 at Stater Brothers, Mike. The reason I know is I'm debating entering the Tustin chili cook-off, as I've done before, and I need to stockpile. You have to bring 15 gallons of chili to be in this cook-off, and it's $5.99 a pound. It adds up pretty quick. But $8 is a little expensive at Stater Brothers. Their marinated one, the burgundy peppercorn, so good. The 10% is still in play. Yep. Yeah, 10% is across the board. Also in play are still the automotive tariffs. And some of the other country like Mexico and Canada tariffs, those are still in play. But any of the reciprocal stuff has been on pause, except for China. China's reciprocal continues to mount. Risk it for a biscuit, my mom. That means go short, right? Let's see. Rob T, if the market goes sideways for a while, is that an ideal time to hold covered call ETF? I don't know. I don't use covered call ETFs, but sure. Yeah, you want something that can be income generating when markets go sideways. If the markets go sideways, then the current strategy that I'm using, which is covered calls and the wheel strategy, works great. It works great in up markets and sideways. The only way that the wheel strategy really will hurt you is if you were in something that goes aggressively against you, like they did yesterday. Those were pretty significant downside moves. But yeah, if it's a sideways choppy market or a market that lacks a lot of volatility, covered calls are great. If you want to hold the positions and don't really want to sell them, make sure you sell your covered calls at strikes it's probably not going to get to. We'll collect a little bit extra premium. Let's see. Steve Mo says, pretty hard for big companies to commit to anything with all these mind changing going on. Agree, Steven. Very difficult. And I think as a CEO, it's got to be frustrating. But imagine all of you are a CEO right now, okay? All of you. And forget your opinions about Trump or the politics of it. It does not matter. As a business owner, I think you'd all agree that right now, I can't take risks. Right now, I need to watch my expenses because it looks like things are going to be very uncertain for the next few months, right? 6 to 8 months, maybe the rest of the year. If that's the case, and I would assume that most of you would feel that way, if you were a CEO right now, you're going, now's not the time for me to do big expansion. Now's not the time for me to go buy a whole bunch more employees and bring them on board. It's more likely that I'm going to ratchet things down a little bit, which to me leads to further problems, layoffs, lack of expansion, etc. So, yeah, I don't know. For me, I don't know if it's next few years. I think that by the time we get to late 2016, this should all have been settled, and then the markets will have some clarity. The longer this tariff garbage goes on, and Doge, right, the whole Doge layoffs and downsizing and closing down government offices, the longer that's in place, the more difficult it is for a business owner to commit to certain things. Now, what may happen is the president and his administration may come to some of these businesses and work some deals. It says, if you commit to X, Y, and Z, then we'll give you this, this, and this. Now the businesses have bargaining chips, right? You want me to commit and expand? Then you need to do something for me because you're creating uncertainty. Musk is mad. Yeah, I'm sorry, Liz, I meant 2026. Sorry, I'm going too fast. My mind's working a million miles an hour here. And yeah, I did say 2016. It meant 2026. Next year. Let's see. Ganesh, we change policies so often, even if we're up, aren't we unpredictable, which is ultimately affect business? Yes. And I guess, Ganesh, the question I have, not the question, but the conundrum I have in my head is, how uncertain are we? We'll always have some level of uncertainty, regardless of which company's in office or person's in office, which party runs it. We'll always have uncertainty. Right now, in my opinion, we have more uncertainty than we've ever had on all fronts, right? That makes it very, very challenging. And as a business owner, I know personally I'd be ratcheting down my expenses, trying to save, going into a tortoise mode just to survive whatever storm is coming, good or bad. Once there's the clouds clear a little bit and I get clarity on what Trump is doing, what tariffs are doing, what the government's doing, lawmakers, crypto, digital assets, AI, all that stuff gets clearer, then I can really surge and spend money. And that's why I was saying 2026, I think, is when you're going to start to see bigger moves to the upside if all goes well with the tariff talk and global trade, etc. What do you think about Powell? What do I think Powell is thinking after today? I think Powell right now is going, thank goodness. Man, you're putting me on the spot, Trump. If this market cratered below 20%, I think they were going to do a rate cut. We talked about that yesterday. So here is your SPX. And that little lower red line there at about 4,917, that's 20%. We went below it 2 times, didn't close below it. In my opinion, if we got to close below that, Dwight, we would probably see the Fed intervene. And again, I don't think Jerome Powell wants to. I think he wants to make sure that the market's stable, that we have unemployment under control, that we have inflation under control, and that GDP is growing. We don't have that now. So there's no reason to cut rates 25 basis points. In this case, it would be purely to save the market. So I think Jerome Powell is breathing a sigh of relief. He's like, oh, thank goodness. Now, I don't know if this updated as of today. Let me bring up the Fed Funds futures. I think it updated as of Central Time, so it's not including today's price action. I'll scroll down here, and right now there is only a 14% chance of a rate cut happening on May 7th. I think that makes sense. Let's see how much it shifted. As of yesterday, there was a 45% chance of a rate cut. Now it's only 14%. What a difference a day makes. 24 little hours. So for the end of the year, remember Jerome Powell said we're gonna be at 3.9, which is 60 basis points, which means 2 rate cuts. Right now the markets are pricing in, drum roll please, 4. Markets are pricing in 4 rate cuts by the end of the year. We'll see how that happens, how that comes to fruition. I don't believe that we're going to get 4 rate cuts by the end of the year. I'll take that bet. If anyone wants to take that bet right now, I am happy to take the opposite side. I do not believe we're going to see 4 rate cuts by the end of the year. I'd be surprised if we saw 2. 1 maybe. I'm starting to side with Bill Addis here, which is we're going to see rate increases this year. By the way, we will be doing our event. If you're a Trading Academy graduate, or if you're in the XLTs, the XLT general session will be this Friday from 11 o'clock until 12:30. So we have an hour and a half of talk with Bill Addis, Larry Jacobson, and myself. It should be a fun time. Looking forward to that one. Let's see. Ganesh says, even if you did a 25% reciprocal tariff and Canada did not budge, but if China's tariff was kept stating they retaliated, none of the big countries budged. Europe is the one I mentioned we're concerned with. In yesterday's show, I said you've got all these little ones, no offense, Canada's market's not that impactful to the U.S. Mexico is not as impactful. Europe is, and China. Those are your 2 biggest ones. And if we keep pushing and pushing China and Europe away from us with all these tariffs, Europe may do a lot more business with China. So by doing this reprieve, it now opens our friendship with Europe again and kind of puts them on our side a little bit, right? Just till we can figure out what to do with China. And the more that China feels like an island, that they're isolated by this, and maybe other countries go to China and say, hey, we want you to reduce our tariffs as well, then now China might be forced to negotiate here. So this was a very strategic move. I got to say, I think it was the right thing to do. I just don't like the uncertainty and out of left field. Granted, I like it because I'm long, so that helped me out quite a bit. I'm certainly happy with that. Will there be carry through tomorrow? What's your speculation? So I think what we're going to get tomorrow, it's a great question. And again, who the heck knows, right? We just don't know for certain. But let's go look at like the Hang Seng or the Nikkei, for example. So here's your Hang Seng. As we roll into tomorrow's session, I would anticipate seeing some of these markets move. Now, Hang Seng obviously not going to have a big impact because these tariffs aren't going to impact them. They're still getting more tariffs, so this should be bearish on them. But what about Japan, Nikkei? Right? I would expect today that the Nikkei starts to have some nice upside move based off these tariffs. And of course, we could look at currencies and see how they're impacted there. I think that you're probably getting a little bit of follow through. I think you're getting emotional follow through, and maybe that does bring us up to 5,700 on the S&P. But I think what will ultimately happen is you'll probably start to see, maybe by Friday or early next week, it sell off a little bit. When the realization is that we haven't really resolved anything. We're a very knee-jerk reaction type of market. And this was, a monstrous move. Don't get me wrong, I love it. I actually really hope we rally through Friday so I can sell calls against my positions at the money and get monster premium, because I do think we're going to start to roll back over. Not aggressive, right? I do think we're going to start to come up to some supply and start to drift lower as people realize, hey, we haven't solved anything. This is all just a pause on the plan, but tariffs are still in place. That still is going to impact inflation. That still is going to impact jobs and hostility. It's the reciprocal tariffs that are getting saved here, and I think that's what's been erased, is the threat of reciprocal. But China is just too big of a mounting pressure for me to feel like there's no worries here. I think that we'll come up to some supply levels and start to roll over. So there you go, Mike. Again, don't take my opinion as a dictator for your trade. You're gonna have to kind of do what you want. And I know, Mike, you've got your takes on the way things are gonna go as well. That's just how I see it and how I'm gonna position my portfolio. You look today for MicroStrategy. When you have a candle like that that's up 24% in one day, I would love to be selling calls that are closer to at the money to get a lot of premium. I mean, you guys know the premium for MicroStrategy is off the charts. It's insane what the premium is for MSTR. So I'm looking forward to hopefully another couple days. Maybe I'd love it if we got a higher move up by Friday, but I don't know. I think that this is just a knee-jerk reaction that got everybody excited, and when we all calm down, I'm going to go, oh, okay, well, we still haven't resolved anything. At least that's my take. Let's see. Man, you guys have got a lot of chat going on. I don't want to skip anybody. JB says, I get that there's a circuit breaker if the market goes down, but I guess there isn't one for it going up. Just never thought about it until today. Yeah, it is. That's true. And this was a question that came in. Let me give a shout out to those that send in questions, which I try to do. Sometimes I don't get to them all. My apologies. But yeah, there was a couple questions on this one regarding circuit breakers. And let me just make sure I got it here. I think it was from... I don't see where the question was. Oh, maybe it came through on another channel. Anyway, I thought it might have been you, Oliver, that asked that question. And the question was, are there circuit breakers to the upside? The answer is, in the equity markets, no. In the stock market, they just want to protect the downside, which goes along with the logic that markets are built to go up. They put in circuit breakers to the downside to protect you. And again, that's 7%, 13%, and 20% are the circuit breakers. However, not all markets remove the ceiling. For example, certain commodities, I think corn, wheat, a lot of agricultural products have an upside lock as well. They call them a lock limit. So the equity markets do not have a ceiling, which is great, especially if you're bullish. If you are trading commodities, though, much more dangerous, because something can lock limit up, and then when it opens, it doesn't have to trade through. It can actually go to the next lock. I remember Bob Dunn talking to me at length about how he had a buddy that was stuck in some futures trade decades ago where it lock limited up, and the guy went short a whole bunch of contracts. And the next day, it lock limited up, and he couldn't trade. It was frozen, and every time it opened back up, it lock limit to the high. So dangerous stuff. Yeah, lock limit down or up is not good, Stephen. And we've seen that happen quite a bit with commodities. I think orange juice was a good one a while back, where it was just seemed like every day was lock limit up or down. Now it's a little bit better, but back here in some of these big moves up, there was lock limit ups here. My assumption is that was lock limit up there and there. So you do get them, but that's just part of the danger of trading commodities. Again, be very careful. If you do trade agricultural products in particular, or any really futures product, make sure you understand what those locks are and what the rules are on it, because if you get stuck with something with a lock, you could be in deep trouble. Yeah, you can't get out. Oh, imagine you're in something and it's just railing against you and there's nothing you can do to get out. Oh man, panic mode, not good. What about circuit breakers in the bond market? I don't know, Andres. I don't trade bond futures. I mean, I have, but it's not like a regular thing for me. So unfortunately, I don't know. Yeah, not sure on that one, unfortunately. Let's see. What else? You guys got so much. It's just leverage Bitcoin market. You're talking about, I would not say that MicroStrategy is a quality company like Apple. Oh, definitely not, Margaret. I'm not saying MicroStrategy is a quality company. I've never said that. It's extreme speculation. And it's basically based off of the premium that you get for Bitcoin. And the main reason that I'm trading it or doing really the wheel strategy with it is the premium is so good. It's phenomenal. You know, I see if it gives me the chain here. I know markets are closed, but we can still bring it up. You know, here's MicroStrategy's option chain. And right now, MicroStrategy is trading at, currently it's at 250. Oh, no, this is orange juice. We don't want orange juice. We want MSTR. So here's MicroStrategy trading at 295 in the after hour session. So if you go here to your option chain, and I go to the chain, and let's just say I want to do it by this Friday, right? So I got 2 days left. I could sell an at the money put, which says I'll buy it if it falls below 295, and I'm going to earn 5%. I earn $10.60. And it's trading, well, at maybe about 4%. So pretty good premium there. And of course, the longer you go out, the better. During regular market hours, this will be more competitive. But, you know, I'll give you guys a better example. Let's say you want to make 1% on MicroStrategy just in the next 2 days. Okay, well, let's go down here and look where 1% would be. 1% on MicroStrategy would be the 260s. So I could sell the 260 put and collect $2.60, actually $2.80, all right? That means that if MicroStrategy fell down here to 260, which is right where my cursor is, I would get 1%. And that has happened in 2 days. But that's pretty significant drop. I mean, for it to get down from current levels to 260, sorry, I have to get the numbers right, that'd be a 12% decline by Friday. Now, of course, super risky, right? Very, very risky, but that may be a trade that I would be willing to take based off market direction or Bitcoin. But yeah, MicroStrategy is not a quality company. Definitely not a quality company. It is a Bitcoin treasury that has extreme volatility, and I like it for the premium. Look, SMCI is not a great company either. NVIDIA is. So, you know, out of the three that I covered on this show, MicroStrategy, SMCI, and NVIDIA, NVIDIA is the only real one that I think is a great company. Other than that, I'm just going for volatility and high premium. You know, the account I'm sharing with you guys is my more aggressive account because it's more exciting. The bond market has velocity circuit breakers, by the way, depending on how fast it moves up or down. Okay, cool. Thank you very much. TradeStation a disappointment looking at different platforms. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of TradeStation. I mean, I was years ago. I don't know. What I'm trying to do now, Jeff, and maybe I'll experiment it more, is I'm looking potentially at different applications that plug into TradingView, right? So you have all of these different platforms plug into TradingView. So you have Tasty Trade and Tasty FX. You've got Webull. You've got all sorts of different companies from crypto to equities to futures that plug into NinjaTrader as well. Like, I don't really like NinjaTrader's platform. It's got some error. Tradier as well. You can plug in here, and the reason I would be interested in that is I really like all of the features of this. This to me is a clean, simple interface that has everything all in one. So I really am a big fan of TradingView, but I'd like to get it plugged into different platforms and see if I could do that. But I have not tried that way, unfortunately. One other thing I want to share is I saw someone comment in chat. I want to make sure. I think I have this image here. I did download it, of course. Oh, I thought this is a great one. So one last little piece here to make you guys laugh, and then I'll wrap up for today. It was this graphic right here I saw on Twitter, and it's Xi Jinping reading The Art of the Deal by Donald Trump, and then on the right-hand side, you've got Donald Trump reading The Art of War. So I think it's a very ironic, funny picture here that I saw on social media today. I had to share that with you guys today. Gotta love AI, man. The stuff that people are doing with AI, you just don't know what to trust. Absolutely don't know what to trust. What'd you say, Tiger? Can you even imagine being President Xi's shoes right now? Hey, look, man. I can't imagine. He's in a power seat, right? Him and Trump are battle of the egos. Again, it's the two school bullies out there going for it. Ultimately, what typically happens in a schoolyard fight is someone gets knocked down, and we'll see who it is. Garfield, I didn't want to say that. I did not want to say that because I don't want people to start hating me. I didn't think that Trump could read. That was good. There are a lot of great memes. Honestly, it's one of the things I look forward to today is the meme-ness that's going on in social media. And I would agree. Big Eb, if you had to choose between The Art of the Deal and The Art of War, The Art of War is a far better book because it impacts, in my opinion, every aspect of your life. If you can understand the concept of winning a battle before you have to even fight, Art of War is way better. Art of the Deal, it's interesting. You can learn a lot about what Trump is doing. I read it many years ago, and I was disappointed when I read it personally, but yeah. Art of War for sure. And there's a lot of really cool versions. By the way, if you want Art of War, you simply go to Google and you say artofwar.pdf. There's a ton of them out there that you can just get the book for free. And there's a couple really cool ones. University of Alberta, Sun Tzu's Art of War. Internet Archive, Sun Tzu's Art of War. There's a coffee table version. There's all kinds of different versions of this. But you can get it for free just by going on to Google and typing in the PDF. I think it's in public domain at this point. Great book. I mean, even just dealing with relationships and business, it is really a powerful, powerful book. Okay, let's go into what's happening tomorrow. Again, I think we're probably going to see a little bit of sympathy, euphoria rally tomorrow. My guess, if I had to even put a gun to my head and say, what do you think is going to happen tomorrow? My guess is we're probably going to gap up a little bit. We'll probably have a nice little move up, and then I think we'll start to roll over and drift down a little bit during that day. But I still think we'll end in positive territory. Just euphoria, right? It's hard to beat that. Here's your economic calendar for mañana. We do get some good stuff in there. That's going to be the consumer price index numbers coming out. Right now, the expectation is that CPI is going to drop. That's right, drop from 0.2 to 0.1. I find that hard to believe, but okay. Here's your chart of it right now. They're thinking to go 0.2 to 0.1, which would be great for Trump, or for Trump and for Powell. Remember, if CPI comes out lower than expectation, that means inflation's under control. If on Friday we get PPI coming out lower than expected, then all of a sudden Powell can look across the spectrum and say, okay, inflation's not an issue. Maybe I can do 25 basis points cut to juice this market, but I still think he's going to hold. Look, these economists and Fed chairmen and bankers and participants, they're all smart enough to know that the actions from Trump over the past 2 months are not in the inflation data yet. Not yet. Give it another couple months. Big Eb says CPI dropping is based off lower oil for sure. And if you look what's happened to the chart of oil, that definitely is going to have an impact on it. Let's go to the chart of crude oil here. Boom. I mean, just over the past, we'll do the short term. Just over since January 15th of this year to its low point, crude oil dropped 31%. To where we are right now, down 23%. So yeah, that's a big drop. Now, of course, there's other factors in there, housing being a big one, and I haven't tracked rent prices or cost things like that, but I know the Case-Shiller Composite 20 Home Price Index has been showing an increase in price, which should ultimately have an impact on the CPI numbers. But yeah, I don't see it falling that much. I don't see the Fed falling for it and jumping and doing a hasty rate cut to save the market. I think that they're going to wait another couple months on data. Wait till the data. What is the dollar amount oil must be for producers to keep pumping? Don't know. I don't know, Thomasine. I know it's different for different countries as well. In the U.S., I've heard numbers like $20 and I've heard $40. I'm not sure. Maybe I can get John Rowland on the program because he knows. John Rowland is much more astute with that. So that's your economic announcement stuff for mañana, is really just looking at the CPI numbers coming out. You also have a bunch of FOMC members speaking tomorrow. You've got Logan and Bowman and Schmid. Goolsbee, Harker, 5 members speaking tomorrow is a pretty big one, at least for where their thoughts are on rates and where they think interest rates might be and growth. All that might impact these markets. And of course, most of that happens before market opens. And then as market progresses, we do have a few more announcements. If you're trading the UK, British pound, you have a GDP announcement happening at 11 p.m. Pacific time. So got a long way to go till we get to that one. And then on the earnings front, I'm going to just say nada. There's really nothing cooking. Earnings are all about Friday, so we'll wait till we get there. Pumping it is very cheap. It's the initial cost of setup and drilling. And I think the different qualities, right, and what type of refining process needs to be done to get that oil to market. And there's different types of crude. There's Brent and all these different varieties. High 30s is in Saudi. And if I understand correctly, Jeff, the Saudi oil is much cleaner than the stuff we get out of, the Permian Basin or out of Texas or Oklahoma. That's my understanding, but I'm not an oil expert. I'll get John rolling on here soon. It's been a while since I've had him on. All right, that's going to do it for me, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. It was one hell of a day. Again, I don't know where we're going to head tomorrow. I do expect more volatility, not like today. I think it'll be an interesting one. I think it's going to be a lot of this, people looking at the tickers and trying to figure out what's happening, what's going on. I do think you'll see a little bit of an up move. I do not think it's going to be another 10% day, but maybe a 1% or a 0.5% maybe by the end of the day is kind of what my brain is thinking. Once the initial volume on the open sorts itself out, I think you'll kind of slowly close out. Hope you wear that shirt on New Year's. Sure. I probably have a more festive shirt for New Year's. All right. Well, thank you guys very much. I hope you all fared well today in these markets. Congrats to Trump saving our butts a little bit here on this one. Oh, this shirt, Margaret, you know where this is made. Come on. It's China. For sure, China. It's polyester, I can tell. Actually, I don't know for certain, but I'd bet dollars to donuts it's China, and I will check it as soon as we're done. All right, Michelle. Are you new here, Michelle? I haven't seen you before. Well, if you are, for all you who are new, hit that like button, subscribe button. Again, we do the show pretty much every single day at 2 p.m. Pacific time. Again, I'm open to all topics. If you have something you want me to discuss, email me at tradermerlin@gmail.com or comment down below the YouTube videos, and I will answer those on tomorrow's show. And I hope that Steven is right. Let's get another 10% update tomorrow. Yeah, I'm going to have to take a small vacation if that happens. All right, everybody. Take care. I will see y'all tomorrow.